Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcome and back, friend to the show. Yeah, after two visits, you're a friend to the program. He is the founder of Live on Purpose and the author of the new book, Talk to Yourself. It may be the best conversation you have all day. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Harper II. What's up, G?
What's going on, man?
Happy
What's
New
going
Year.
on, man? Happy New Year, Doc. Man, good to see you. Appreciate the opportunity, Doc.
Hey, man, I'm glad to see you too. When Keisha and I did the Live on Purpose event, that was amazing.
That was hot.
Stuff.
That was good, man.
And then you were telling us about the book coming out, and here it is.
Yes, sir.
Talk to Yourself. It may be the best conversation you have all day. Why did you title this Talk to Yourself?
Talk to yourself. It came about in a real organic way, man. Like, I didn't think about trying to write a book, but I was having conversations with people, man. And, first of all, talking to yourself is something we do all the time, organically. You're not crazy if you do it. We talk to ourselves, period. So I wanted to write something that could be really relatable, that could reach people on like a everyday basis, very practical. Mm-hmm. And so I was having these conversations with people, man, and people would share their dreams, their goals, their ambitions with me. But some way through the conversation, they would insert this word that paralyzes a lot of dreams. They said, but, right? They were like, I would be a better this, but I would go back to school, but I would do this, but, and I kept hearing it, not just with the same person, but just different individuals. Mm-hmm. And so what I would say to myself was that, okay, anything after that but is what they really believe. It's like, that's the excuse for them not going after their goal, their dreams. Like, that's what the subconscious mind believes. So I said to myself, how can we get that out of the way? Like, how can we get how can we get them to believe about their dreams, their goals, their ambitions, the things they really want to do and accomplish out of life? Statistics already says that, man, 95% of our actions are from our subconscious mind. So we're just running off automatic, man. So a lot of times when we have those thoughts, it's really on a deep level, from a deep rooted place. And so I want to write something that can really change that, can shift that, can change the narrative for people.
Yeah. Wow.
Man.
Okay. So there's I like to call you, in my mind, you don't know this, but in my mind you're the king of affirmations. And I say that because anytime, the few times that this has happened with me on my Instagram feed and coming across a post of yours or an IGTV of yours, it always affirms the things that I had been toying or questioning
right
in my mind. And it's happened like 3 or 4 times, Robert. And I'm just like, this man, he really must be a prophet. I mean,
man,
just speak on the power. And do you know that you even have that gift?
Not really. You hear people say something, so I'm a minister too. So after a service, somebody said, man, why are you talking about me? Why are you in my life? Why are you in my world? But I just figured, hey, that's God moving. That's just, I'm speaking. I'm asking every time I get up and speak, man, I always ask God to lead me I don't know your people, but you do. You know what I mean? So I just try to say something that can be genuine and authentic, and it relates, man. So be grateful.
You listen to Access Houston, talking to Robert Harper II. Talk to Yourself. And maybe the best conversation you have all day is available right now. Where can I get it, though?
You can get it on Amazon, man. You can go to Amazon, or you can go to my website, robertharper2.com.
So people, we're dealing with a lot right now.
Definitely.
As we were talking before we came on air, it's just like, I'm like, man, it's still January. Yeah. It feels like you said you saw a meme where it said
5 months in. We 5 months in.
5 months in. And no, and we just 1, 2, it's 5 weeks in.
Yeah.
So much going on, in the news. There's this tragic and heartbreaking loss of the GOAT that is Mamba.
Come on.
Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. And I feel as if, or I know, that a lot of people are dealing with secondhand PTSD or secondhand
trauma.
Trauma due to all of the things that's going on in the world.
Right.
How and a lot of people are having some negative thoughts and trying to break out of that thought pattern, but bad news keeps coming. So how does one overcome these negative thoughts? What advice or suggestions do you have?
No, that's good, man, because we are inundated with negativity. We have negativity from within, and we have now this negativity from without. So we have this negativity that we see on the news, we see Facebook, we see Instagram, we see all these social media platforms. The news is on 24/7, right? And so not only are you dealing with your own negative thoughts, you can go on television, you can go on your phone, your iPad, and you see it, only affirming the craziness that's going on in the world, the craziness that's going on in your own life, the craziness that's going on in your head. And so we have to be very deliberate and conscientious about making an effort to just step back. Step back from those social media platforms, step back from the television a little bit, talk to yourself. And the real key is trying to create a new experience, because I believe that once you create that new experience, that shifts your reality, right? Because if you have the new experience, then you create a new belief system, and the new belief system creates different actions, and the actions create results, right? And so let's just start from the premise, right? So if you have the same experience over and over, you go on Instagram and you see negativity over and over again. You go on the news, negative. They don't report good news for some reason, but I
don't know what that's about.
but it's the bad news, and you see this, the tragedy, and all of this stuff is real. But if you expose yourself to that over and over again, what happens is you create a belief system about your own personal limitations, about the world that we live in. And so those things limit you. So now you have this experience, this negative experience, you have this negative belief. Now what? You have negative actions, right? Causes you not to do things, causes you to be afraid, to live in fear, to be timid, to have anxiety, to worry, to stress out. These are all actions that comes from within in the mind. So we got to have a new experience. A new experience leads us to a new belief. That new belief creates new actions, and that actions are so important, because whenever we create that new action and we get that new action, there's a result. There's a result behind that, right? So, for example, if somebody says, man, nothing ever goes right for me, that's your belief. That's your man, nothing ever goes right for me, right? And so then you wake up in the morning, and with that belief system, you hit the bed, you hit your leg on the bed, and you get in traffic, and you're late from work, and then something,
it's just a trickle
effect,
snowball effect,
right? And so
day.
you get the results, you get these results, and so now it only affirms what? It affirms the belief, it affirms that experience. So what I tell people is, use this time to create a new experience for yourself, or be deliberate, be very intentional, be very purposeful about creating a new experience. Because if you can create a new experience, the stuff that's going on right now in the news with Kobe Bryant, which I believe was my favorite athlete of all times, and say, okay, what can I do right now to create a new experience? What can I do? Maybe instead of hearing all the tragedy, maybe I can remember, I create the experiences of the good times that he left me, the joy, the smiles, the comfort, the excitement, right?
The advice,
the wisdom,
the discipline,
the discipline, exactly,
the Mamba mentality.
The Mamba mentality. I even put that on my text messages. I try to put that on my text. For some reason I'm trying to work that out, but on my text message, I'm trying to get to where every time I say the text message, it says Mamba mentality, because Kobe Bryant for me was a distant mentor, man. He was the one of those cats that was like, man, I want to meet him one day. Right, just because of his discipline, his hard work, his devotion, right? It's his mindset that was so attractive to me. We have good athletes all the time, man. You're playing sports, talented, but what set Kobe apart, man, is his level of discipline, his hard work, his ability to not settle for just talent, but to
determination.
Yeah, determination to strive for excellence every day.
They said he was the first one there and the last one.
Every day, man. So yeah, that right there for me is definitely. I was looking up something one day. Somebody asked me, what's the average height in the NBA, right? So the average height in the NBA is 6'7". It's 6'7", actually. I thought it was going to be a lot shorter than that.
Oh,
but the average height
6'7",
6'7", right?
Jeez.
This was in 2018 they did this. It was 6'7". So then I thought about that with the recent events with Kobe Bryant. I was okay, Kobe Bryant is 6'6". In that world, in that arena, there's nothing special about him. He's 6'6". He's average.
He's average.
He's average. So if you're going to that arena, you're 6'6", you're average, what's going to separate him? What's going to make him different? And it wasn't just being talented. Everybody's talented on that level. And so it was his dedication, his commitment, his, those kind of things that separated him. Yeah.
Listen to Access Houston, got Robert Harper II in here, the new book, Talk to Yourself. So you have an excerpt that you want to read to the folks. You got a lesson, or explain to me what it is that we're about to do here.
Okay, so in the book, Talk to Yourself, I'm speaking to the reader. And
he's talking to you.
Yeah, I'm talking to you guys. And so, but after that, there's a section in the chapter of the book where you're talking to yourself, right? And so, you'll see it. It says, say this to yourself, right? And so it's just affirming. So my thought process was that it's not just enough for me to talk to you guys. I want you to literally talk to yourself. Talk to yourself, so that even after you finish the book, it can be a frame of reference. It can be a guidepost. It can be something that you can go back to and say, okay, hey, today I'm not having the right thoughts. Today was a little tough. Let me just go back and read this affirmation on responsibility. Let me just go back and read this affirmation on healthy relationships, and so on making reservations or being prepared. So these are the kind of things that I think we have to do deliberately and consciously. We do it already. We talk to ourselves already. It's just that we do it on the other end of the spectrum. Psychology says that 80% of our thoughts are negative. 80% of our thoughts are negative, and that, it doesn't. That's not a surprise because we talked about the CNN, the Fox, the news, the Facebook, the Instagram. Right. All these things that are all around us each and every day. So 80% of our thoughts are negative, man. So we have to be really conscious and deliberate about choosing the right kind of thoughts. So, yeah. It's
very important because the mind is so powerful. Your thoughts are very, very powerful.
Very powerful. Very powerful, man. And I would say this too, KJ, is that our conscious mind or unconscious mind, are different. So most people will say, you know what? New year, new me. Right. I'm going back to the gym. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And what people don't realize, that's the conscious mind talking. That's the conscious mind. You're saying you're very conscious and aware of that's what you want to do. But the unconscious mind is just a recorder. It doesn't know fantasy from reality. But the unconscious mind, its basic root is to keep you safe, to keep you away from harm or danger or problems. So when you start going to the gym and it's not feeling good, it's not attractive anymore. We're February in, your unconscious mind is going to kick in and say, hey, this is not good. This won't keep you safe. This is not a good thing for you to do. And so when the unconscious mind kicks in, you're like, okay, hold on. I need to stay safe. And safe means stay in bed or make excuses. And so the unconscious mind is where what we really, really believe. We got to get those thoughts in the unconscious mind. You do that by repetition, by habit, by forming a habit. And so now you're just like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do because I formed this habit of speaking to myself, of doing it, of being actively involved, engaged in something. And so, yeah.
And you can do all of that. Get the book, Talk to Yourself. It may be the best conversation you have all day by for sure. Robert N. Harper II. Man, I'm going to get into it. It's an easy read. Yeah, it's an easy read. So go ahead and get it available on Amazon, or you can log on to his website, robertharper2.com.
Can I share my favorite chapter in the book?
What is your favorite chapter?
It's called Just Be Yourself. Just be yourself. That's chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8. Just be yourself. And to me, that I really, it's people always say, KG, man, just be yourself, man. You're getting ready to go on a date. Just be yourself. You're getting ready to go on a job interview. Just be yourself. But what does that really mean? When it's so difficult sometimes to just be yourself.
Some people still don't know who they are.
So
or what they like.
And so. Yeah, I really enjoyed that chapter, man.
And I'm going to get into this. So Thank you, my G. Robert Harper II. Get the book now. Talk to yourself, man. Thank you for coming on, man.
For sure, man.
You always give me some amazing content, so I appreciate you.
Appreciate you for the opportunity, man.
No doubt. And thank you for listening to Access Houston. Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcome and back, friend, to the show. He is a part of the Mangrove Community. My guy, Mr. Carl Ward, is back on the program. What up, G?
What's going on, man? Hey, thanks again for having me, man.
Man, anytime. And you brought one of your young soldiers with you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Quinton Brown. Welcome to the program, man.
What's going on, KG?
Ain't nothing too much. Listen, you guys do a lot of things in the community. Real quick, for those who may not be familiar with Mangrove Community, tell us who you are. What's the mission of Mangrove Community?
Well, the mission of Mangrove Community, what we do, we go out into underserved, disenfranchised communities. We group together resources from various organizations, businesses, even on the political front. And what we do is we bring those resources back to the community. If you've never heard of the mangrove tree, look it up. But it's a unique tree to its habitat. It provides protection. It provides food. It provides a lot. It brings in a lot of resources to its habitat. So we modeled our organization after the mangrove tree, and that's what we're doing for our community.
I love it. You do a lot in the community. Just real quick, like over the past few years, some of the things that you all have done.
Man, we've done food distributions where we fed over thousands of people. During Hurricane Harvey, we brought resources like sheetrock, insulation, food, even gift cards with money on them and things like that to support and help those people that were affected by Hurricane Harvey. And then we went out and got in front of the government officials and things like that and brought those resources back to the community and made the community aware of what they had out there available to them. Yeah. We've done school drives where we gave away over 1,000 backpacks. We gave away free haircuts, did over 200 dental screenings, health screenings. Yeah, so we're good at partnering and bringing in those resources to those disenfranchised communities.
Indeed, and bringing another issue that is affecting the Black and brown community, which is voter registration and voter suppression.
Yes, sir.
And so you started the #IVote campaign. What is this all about?
So the the I Vote campaign, what it's doing, we're educating, registering, and mobilizing voters. So we're partnering with deputy registers. I'm actually looking to become one myself, where we can go out and register people to vote in the communities. We're working with the school districts right now as well to get into high schools and get people registered at a young age. We designed these shirts, these #IVote shirts, and what we're doing, we're selling them for $15 each. Proceeds are going towards, right now in the inception stage, we're looking to rent vans and strategically place them around the city in these disenfranchised communities so that voters can get to the polls. At the same time, we'll become aware of any voter suppression that's going on at the polls, and we'll handle those issues as they come. So we want to make sure that not only people are registered, but they're mobilized to get to the polls as well. Mm-hmm. So that's what the I Vote movement is all about.
And we've got the primary election that will be coming up in March.
Yeah, it'll be March 3rd is the primary, but early voting starts February 18th through February 28th. Yeah. So we're doing that whole 10-day period, 11-day period. We're trying to get people to, we are getting people to the polls. And then for the actual election day, we want to make sure that everyone gets to the polls who's willing and able to vote.
No doubt. You listen to Access Houston, talking to Carl Ward from Mangrove Community. Brought along young Quinton Brown. Quinton, how did you get down with Mangrove?
Well, I just met Carl, and I was liking what type of mission he was doing, like what kind of mission he bring to the table. Because what I'm getting tired of is just sitting down and just watching, like people in my generation always. Well, let me rephrase that. People thinking of us as gangsters and thugs, but we talking down on ourselves. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking at as I'm sitting back, I'm looking at Carl and how he's like bringing stuff to the table. So I'm like, you know what? I want to do that too. I want to be able to get out there too, because that's my mission too. I want to be able to bring something positive to the community, so we can be able to wake people up, mm-hmm. so it can be better. Because I believe and I have faith that everything can be right. So that's why I came came across Carl and said, let's do it. Let's do this.
And that says a lot.
Yeah, and he keeps me abreast of what's going on with the younger generation, the millennials. Even though I'm right on that cusp myself, but he's dead in the middle of it, and he helped me understand the thought process and what the younger generation face. And he doesn't realize it, but he helps me form a lot of these programs and things like that to cater to that generation with the knowledge that he gives. And he's also a very spiritual brother, and everybody who knows me, this was a God-sent vision. So, man, it was a blessing to have him come along.
What are some of the things that's going on? I mean, the last thing I know, I had heard, like the gang activity was still rampant. How was that looking? And what part of Houston do you live in?
Greens Point.
Okay, so you up on the north?
Yes, north side.
Yeah. What's the temperature up there now?
Man, it's bipolar. It's really very bipolar. 1 minute it's hot, 1 minute it's cold. It's like, gosh, like I don't know. I'll be like, man, I don't know. Should I wear my jacket? Should I go shirtless? I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of temperature, like the streets, like what are these young people on the streets these days? Have they calmed down? Are they ratcheting it up or?
Well, it varies. It varies because you still have some younger folks that's still out there, and money is on their mind, really.
Okay.
You got, they mindset is hustle.
Because they don't have what they need, and so they go out to get what they need.
Right. And because it's a past thing, it's something that's going on with their past, as far as like, their mom or dad or anybody.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. It's a generational curse that's going on. So what my main focus too, not only just take care of the community, my main focus is really, destroying the enemy's assignment. Like I feel like that's what God wants me to do, is to destroy the enemy's assignment. And I truly agree that that's possible, because you have some people that come up to me and they be like, Quinn, you know what? You right. I need to do right. I need to get out these streets, but it's hard. It's hard for a pimp. And I'm like, well, what you need to do is you need to isolate yourself. Isolate yourself and let God show you who it's possible to come in your life, so you can be able to have a positive
circle of foundation,
and that can break up a generational curse, and because it's just a lot of young generations out here, they more like I said, hustle, but what they want to do is they want to be seen. They want to be, but deep inside they hurt.
They hurt, and they want to be loved.
Right.
And probably at the end of it, that's what's up.
Yes.
Listen to Access Houston. We got the men of Mangrove Community. Carl, gentrification is one of the things that you all are tackling. It's running rampant in Houston. Right. I mean, everyone. When I saw a young Asian woman said that she lived in Fifth Ward, I was like, get out of here, please.
Nope, it's true.
She was like, no, they're rebuilding it over there.
Yep. Hey, in the next 10 years, it's going to be hard to get into Fifth Ward. And what I don't think what a lot of people realize is that this is not by coincidence. It's not by accident.
This is by design.
It's by design, and it's targeted. Our communities are being targeted. Back to Hurricane Harvey, a lot of communities were left to suffer and struggle on their own for the simple fact they know, okay, if we let them suffer long enough, they won't be able to afford their homes anymore. They'll sell their homes. You see a lot of contractors and things like that coming in, buying these homes, and these are not people that live in these communities. Again, another thing you will see, and this is why the I Vote campaign is so important, and that we get out and vote, and that we pick the right officials to put in office that represent us and know what's going on and are going to do the things to allow us to exist within the gentrification and not be pushed out. They will let areas just die off. They won't invest in it. They disinvest in the communities. They won't build businesses. They let the buildings go vacant until they see a point where they can capitalize. It's called a rent gap, where they start to pay attention to, okay, right now rent is this much in this area, but if we can come in and buy a few homes and redevelop them, now we can sell them for this amount or rent them out for this amount, which is a huge gap between what's already in that neighborhood. And before you know it, property taxes are going up, and the people who have been living in those neighborhoods the entire time, they can no longer afford it. And there have been studies by Rice University itself that says this is going on, and it's not coincidence, it's not accident, it's targeted and it's systematic, and they're really trying to push these people out. And what they're looking at the people who live in these communities that don't have degrees, don't have bachelor's degrees, versus once the community is gentrified, now you see a whole type of demographic move in. Mm-hmm. These people are educated, they have their bachelors, they make a higher income, so now they're building homes that are a little bit higher. And what we're seeing is the affordable housing market slowly shrinking and going away in the city of Houston. And before we look at it, we're going to be like LA, New York, and the cost of living is going to be out the roof.
And everybody is moving here from those cities because the cost of living down here is, so much less than what they pay out in New York and in LA. Let's get on this NACA real quick.
Well, I want to let everybody know there's a program out there, NACA. What NACA does is they bring affordable housing to the communities, and they're nationwide, and there's a 5-day event coming here to Houston. It's going to be February 27th through March 2nd at Greenhouse International Church. That's 200 West Greens Road, Houston, Texas 77060 or 67, I believe. And what it is a 5-day event. You can get a home loan, no down payment, no closing costs. We don't consider your credit score. We're character-based, so we do look at your pay history. We look at rental history, employment history, things like that. But the issues that people face in home ownership, like a down payment, can be 3 to 4%, anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. NACA has $15 billion backing it. They take care of that down payment and that closing cost for you. And all you're left with is your minimum required funds, which are those fees that you can't avoid in home ownership, like inspections. You have to pay homeowners insurance up for a year, escrow real estate tax, and things like that. So this is a very great program.
And it's happening when?
February 27th through March 2nd. Yep, and you can come in, you can actually attend the workshop. We have scanning stations where you scan in all of your documents that are required. You can sit with the counselor, you can sit with underwriters, and you can get qualified for a home loan in the same day if you fit all those qualifications.
Carl, I want to have you back on the week of this event.
Okay.
So let's look at it. So we'll have you back on. So February 23rd, we'll have you on that show.
Okay.
So we can talk about NACA and get those who are looking to be homeowners the first time, because this is.
Yeah, it's word of mouth.
I may participate in this.
A lot of people don't know about it. It's word of mouth. And
$15 billion backing them up. They can get me in a whole house.
Shout out to Bruce Marks. He's the CEO of this nonprofit, NACA. He's been fighting this for 25 to 30 years. He coined the term predatory lending. So we'll love to bring him on with us too, so he can explain in more detail.
Set that up. Let's get it. Let's get it. Man, Quinton, thank you for coming on, bro. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, KG.
And my man, Carl Ward, Mangrove Community. We'll see you back here at the end of the month, my G. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.